Good morning, everyone. This is Mrs. O'Connor, and I am here to read a story to all of you who are joining us today at Makane TBA Babayit. I am a BET teacher, and this week we are talking about respecting differences, which is a really important Jewish value. Do you have any special qualities that make you different or unique from other people you know? Have you ever known somebody who has some special qualities that make them unique or different, and maybe people aren't kind to them? Well, that's what our story is about today. We are going to hear the story of Jumping Jenny. That was written by Ellen Barry and illustrated by Raquel Garcia Macia. I'm excited to read this story to all of you. I know some people like this. Here you go. Jenny was born to jump. Nothing made her happier. Every day on the way home from school, she jumped over the cracks in the sidewalk. She vaulted over fire hydrants. She bounded over hedges and leaped over Mrs. Fenster's fence. At home, she grabbed a snack, got on her pogo stick, and jumped some more. But some people didn't think Jenny's jumping was so joyous. "Jumping is for frogs," scolded Mrs. Jacobs after Jenny knocked over all the caterpillar bins in the science room. It's a lot of caterpillars. Jenny bit her lip as she cleaned up the mess. Her classmates snickered. "These cafeteria catastrophes must cease," announced Mrs. Cohen after Jenny bounced into the hot lunch cart, splattering mashed potatoes in every direction. Mrs. Cohen was not smiling as she pointed to the door. Jenny was not smiling as she ate her lunch in the hall. One afternoon, just as Jenny was about to jump over a fence, a loud chorus of "ribbit, ribbit, ribbit" suddenly came from behind the hedge. She lost her balance and splashed down into the mud. "Jumping is for frogs," someone shouted. Jenny clenched her teeth to hold back the tears. Well, that evening at home, a terracotta teapot toppled. "No more jumping in the house," Jenny's mother fumed. "But I love to jump," said Jenny. "One day I'm going to jump to the moon." "Maybe so," said her mother, "but this house will not be your launch pad." Well, the next day, Jenny didn't skip rope during recess, and on her way home, she didn't leap over a single fence. With each passing day, Jenny seemed to lose a little more of her old hippity-hop self. Grandma found Jenny sitting on the stoop, shoulders down and looking glum. "When did my jumping Jenny become slumping Jenny?" she asked. "Grandma, nobody likes my jumping," Jenny said, wiping away a tear. "But your every ounce was made to bounce," said Grandma, giving Jenny a great big hug. Well, the next day, Jenny's teacher suggested a class mitzvah project. "I went to Africa last summer to volunteer at a school in Uganda," she said. "Let's have a fair to learn more about African traditions and to raise money for books and computers that the Uganda school needs. Any ideas?" Well, Jeremy volunteered to teach African drumming, and Monica offered to do tribal face painting. Tamar would bake and sell African ginger cookies. As her classmates were buzzing with ideas, Jenny was silent. "I'm not good at anything but jumping," Jenny moped, and she dragged herself home. That night, she sat on her bed staring at her pogo stick. After Jenny stopped jumping, she had disguised it with a mop and an apron, and now it seemed to be talking to her. She wrote down what she thought the pogo stick was saying. Jump-a-thon, 1,000 jumps. For the first time in days, Jenny smiled. I'll jump 1,000 jumps. If I can get people to pay for every jump, I can send lots of books to Uganda. Well, the most you've ever done is 250 jumps, her mother warned when Jenny blurted out her idea. I know, Mom, said Jenny, but I really want to do this. To Jenny's surprise, her friends and family pitched right in. They coached her when she jumped, not in the house, of course, and kept a journal of her progress. Before long, Jenny was a pro. She could even jump backwards with one hand free. As the day of the fair got closer, Jenny and her friends went door to door asking for pledges. Aunt Becca pledged a nickel a jump. Uncle Zev promised a dime. And Grandma said she'd pay a quarter for every jump. Before she knew it, the pledges added up to $1 a jump. But could she do 1,000 jumps? The night before the big event, Jenny could hardly sleep. When she came to school, the yard had been transformed into an African village. Music was playing and the smell of spices filled the air. There were long lines at all of the booths as children and their parents made beaded necklaces, sampled African foods, and watched a slideshow about their sister school in Uganda. Finally, it was time for the jump-a-thon. Jenny carried her pogo stick up to the stage. Her heart was racing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jenny's gym teacher, Mr. Kaminsky, started counting. Jenny was up to 500 jumps when she felt a familiar tickle in her nose that warned her that she was about to achoo. The crowd held their breath as Jenny took a tissue from her mother, wiped her nose, and kept right on going. By now, everyone was counting. 535, 536, 537, 847, 848, 849. Gideon brought Jenny some ice water. She gulped it down without missing a jump. Her hands were sweaty and her legs felt wobbly. But then she saw Grandma's face beaming through the crowd. You can do it, Jenny, Grandma yelled. Jenny swallowed hard and took another jump, and another, and then another. 998, 999, 1,000. Way to go, shouted Grandma as Mr. Kaminsky lifted Jenny onto his shoulders and carried her through the crowd. Jumping Jenny, the crowd cheered. When Jenny awoke the next morning, she saw her own smiling face on the front page of the local newspaper. And a few months later, Jenny was in the newspaper again. So, I hope you enjoyed that story. And it just goes to show that everyone who has special and unique characteristics that make them a little bit different, they can change the world. Do you have anything special or different that you're proud of? I hope you think about it and see if you can do something to make the world a better place. I hope you liked that story, boys and girls, and any parents that are watching. I'd like to give a special shout out to my Bet Love Bugs. I sure miss seeing you, but I love watching you in our live Zoom classes. And a special happy Mother's Day to all of the moms out there and all of the people who are like moms to all of our students. Have a great day, everybody.